We are back to our show, Good Morning Kuwait. Now we're heading for our second interview segment. We're delighted to have with us today Hamza Taqi. He's the business consultant and trainer. Hello and good morning.
Hello, good morning to all of you. Thank you for having me.
You are most welcome, Mr. Hamza. And last time we were talking about the leadership and how to be a great leader.
True.
But today we're going to talk about the effective training in the corporate level. So, can you tell us how do actually effective for training of the corporate level, and in your experience, does really employees react really well to such kind of this training?
That's a big question, Akhti Sarah, because see, there are many elements in the training, and to make the training effective, you have to look at all the elements.
Yes.
And I personally feel that the most important element in the development of any employees is the direct boss, is the direct manager.
Okay.
Because what? Sometimes, you know, we go to training and we invest in the training for our employees and they gain some skills and some attitude, some knowledge, and they come back to work. And once they are faced with their boss, they want to implement some of the changes or some of the knowledge that they have or skills,
Yes.
then the boss tells them, forget it, let's focus on our job, let's focus on what we do on a routine, daily basis. So this will be waste of money, and sometimes it's billions of dollars industry that are wasted only because the manager doesn't take their part to reinforce the learning that took place in a week or 2 days or 3 days or 1 day conference or workshop. So the manager, he has a big part of it. Of course, the employee himself who comes to the training must be prepared and willing to learn and has the willingness and al-raghba for learning.
Yes.
So it you know, for us, for me, for example, as a training or a consultant, I do my part, and then the problem is that I cannot go follow you to your office and see if you are reinforcing those knowledge, because it has to come a habit.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's going to be a waste of time.
Yes, this is very important.
It is effective sometimes because, you know, you're dependent. And there is another way where we get a contract with an entity,
Yes.
where they give us a training program and then follow up with coaching.
And there is something important, Mr. Hamza Taqi, follow up with coaching.
Yes.
These days we have too many conferences,
Yes.
too many training courses, and you as like an instructor
Yes.
for one of these conferences, how to give like a good to train the corporate level, especially when the employees get already good skills and they will try to do it in their entities. But there is something important, employees and even the executive directors,
Yes.
even the director himself have to have a good presentation to the others, especially in the conferences or in training courses.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
presentation skills are very important, right?
It is a very vital tool to
Yes.
communicate, especially to group of people or
yes.
audience. Yes.
Yeah, so what about the best presentation skill for an employee and even for the executives?
Well, employee needs to have that skill, presentation skills, to present their reports, to present their findings, to present their project or their initiative. So they need presentation skills. The boss needs more of the presentation
Yeah, this is
skills.
I'm mentioning, yes.
Yeah, because the leader or the manager needs to kind of equip all the team members with the vision
Yes.
that he sees in front, or where they are going in terms of destination or in terms of objectives or goals. So he has to communicate that objective or that vision to the employees. The best way is to present it. And presentation, you know, it's not just talking. There is a lot of elements in the presentation to persuade people to take action. Because a presentation without action, it's useless. You know, for every communication piece, there is a purpose. So you need to identify the purpose. And once you identify the purpose, you have to identify the audience, who are the listeners or who are gonna recipients for
Yes.
this communication. And then you tweak your style and structure toward that segment or toward your audience. Because we know communication.
Yes.
We communicate with adults differently than we kids or we communicate, for example, with our grandmother differently than we're communicating with
Yes.
others, for example.
Do we need actually to do like a written communication, like an official letter or an email, to do a presentation skill really great?
Well, it's written communication is one of the verbal communication because you're using words, and you can use email or you can use report or you can use a memo or a letter
Yes.
to communicate your ideas. And actually, our Jeff Bezos, for example, of Amazon, he will if you come and they have like they have initiative internally to make people come up with ideas, new project to make the business better.
Yes.
So he has he tells the idea initiator or project initiator to write a 10-page script about the project rather than presenting it. Why? Because if you put it on a PowerPoint or a presentation or using any other tool to present it,
Yes.
it's easier for the presenter to present, but it's so difficult for the audience to understand what he's
Exactly.
presenting. But when you're reading 10 pages report, and he gives it even in the meeting, the report is gone to them. But even the meetings, he keeps like 10, 15 minutes for everybody in the meeting to read that report so they can take a decision. So he blocks a time to make sure that all the executives are reading the information.
Nice.
So he doesn't use the presentation style that we are used to.
Yeah.
He uses the written communication, as you mentioned. There is another lady who doesn't use even any visual. She says, "I am the visual."
Okay.
And she is presenting, and she is very well communicating and touching the heart of their audience, and she's really reaching her message.
And this is like important, like people he's responsible to share, even as like an employee or maybe he's like one high position.
Yes.
So it's like about the form of the communication, how you communicate with people. It's very important, right?
Yes.
Especially if you are individual, you have your point of view, you want to share something, right?
Right. And basically, it's this is the way actually to let people know what is in your mind or what you want them to do. And there is a famous story for a manager who asked his assistant to dig up some information for a presentation that he needs to do to the board.
Yes.
So after this assistant start working on collecting the data and the content and putting everything together, when he showed it to his boss was so impressed by the amount of work that this person has done. He asked him, "Why don't you present it yourself? You have done a lot of work.
Yes.
Why don't I introduce you to the board and you present to the board?" After that presentation, this assistant became sir, or what they call the secretary of the
Second
board.
secretary, yes?
Yes, so he moved up only because he has good presentation skills. He
Wow.
could communicate.
So sometimes it depends about the person, her character, his
Willingness.
willingness.
I think the willingness makes a big part. If you want to know anything, Aziz, you will know it. And we
Yes.
always say that what a man can do, another can. We don't mean man, insan. We mean
It's like a person.
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
What a woman can do, another can. Meaning that anybody can achieve what they want to achieve if they have the desire.
And the will also, we can
Yes.
say.
The will.
Yes.
So if I have an idea, for example,
Yes.
and I want to let my boss to know about it,
Yes.
to inform it.
Yes.
So what is the best way actually to present my idea to my boss or my manager?
Depending on the boss.
Okay.
Or the style of the boss. Because,
Yeah.
see, there are bosses, they'd like to take the decision themselves. They are a decision maker. So they don't like you to take the decision for them.
Yes.
So, but you want your idea to grow, right? Now, some people, they present their idea and it doesn't go anywhere. Other people, they present their idea and it's nothing to, I mean, if you equate it to your idea is a much better, but it didn't go through because the way you communicated, the way you presented to your boss, it didn't go through. This was an idea maybe mediocre, but it went through because the way they presented
Nice.
to the boss and he accepted it and he went through. So it depends. Now, there are bosses that want to take your idea and make it their own. I don't
Yes.
mind. Let it be their own. But at least it's my idea that it went
Published
live.
already.
Yeah, it's
Marketed, yeah.
published.
It's very smart way you
Yes.
mentioned, yes.
Some
Yes.
people, they say, no, I don't want to give them the idea. I want to keep it because they will use it. But
I
then-
own the idea. I want to
but
buy
then-
myself.
But then the idea is dead.
Yes.
You know, you want a way to get your idea explored. Now, between you and God, it's your idea. So, live it and enjoy it.
Yes.
So there is something
Yeah.
something important. Sometimes you have to think in a different way, change your way of thinking.
Yeah.
So this time I have to publish my idea. Maybe it will not publish again.
Mm.
It will be dead. That's important. So before we publish the idea, before we do the form of communication, I have to attract people's attention.
Yes.
When I go and sitting and talking free, I have to grab their attention.
Yes.
What is the best way?
There are many ways.
Yeah.
There are many tactics that we use to grab people attention. For example, you know, we have to break their
Ice? We can say.
yeah, you can say breaking the ice, but I would put it in a different way where we have to break their rhythm. Like, for
Okay.
example,
Okay.
Change
people are coming from like the highway and they're driving and they're coming to the room and so you need to shift them altogether to bring them back to you. So you either start with a story, intriguing story, because, you know,
To attract them first?
Yes,
Yeah.
because we're programmed to hear stories since childhood.
Yes.
Stories in all the religions are stories. History is all stories.
Nice. Nice
so
point.
we're really, you know, easy for us to listen to story.
Yes.
So when you start with story, you grab their attention. You get them out from their previous mood to your mood now. Or you ask question. Or sometimes you say a phrase that shocking. For example, do you know that school make people creativity go down 90%?
Like a notice, but it's in that indirect way.
Yes, it's shocking. It's like, oh, the school make us less creative? How can it be that? Because we don't agree, you know, sometimes with that. So it creates thinking. It creates people. The audience will be shocked, and they will listen to you. What do you mean? Why are you saying that? And then you can say why.
That's really a great trick, actually.
Yes.
Great
to
trick.
start
Even for a
conversation.
host to host any event, you have to open it with the.
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do the opening beginning because it's very formal, but sometimes you have to make it like in a storyteller.
Kind
Yes,
of story, yes.
Even the opening, you mentioned the opening, sorry, Sarah, you mentioned the opening and the closing.
Yes.
These are the key
Yeah.
element in the presentation. Because we remember how the presenter started.
Nice.
And we remember how they ended.
Nice. That's a
So,
good point.
so it's very crucial for a presenter to work on their introductory and, of course, the body as well. But
Body
even
language, your tone.
yes, of course,
Exactly.
and the conclusion, because these are the things that people remember.
By voice
The
tone
most.
and also the expressions.
Yes,
And
that's the non-verbal communication.
Nice.
Exactly. So you already mentioned some tips and keys about how can be a great presenter.
Yeah.
Is there any other points to focus on to be a really great presenter?
See, you want to be a presenter, you want to persuade people,
Yes.
like we
Okay.
said before, to take action.
Yeah.
So Aristotle, I don't know, thousands of years ago,
Yes.
4 BC, he created something called ethos, logos, and pathos.
Okay.
Now, this is his formula for persuading people to take action or to do something. And till date, presenter uses this. All the speakers, they use, if you focus on it, they will use the ethos, logos, and pathos.
Pathos.
Ethos is the credibility of the speaker. Is he the subject matter expert? Because you want to show that the speaker, and usually when they introduce the speaker, you sometimes do it, you introduce their CV, for example.
Then here's
Yes.
name.
Right.
That's
So,
better.
so you're saying, you know, we have, you know, somebody is coming, his name is so, he wrote this book and he has published this. So people will say, oh, we have somebody credible, so we must listen to. This is number one. Number two, the presentation must be logical, must have evidence, facts. Forget about assumptions. Sometimes we put assumptions. No, look at the facts, put, you know, the logic, so it becomes consistent. People are following up with you.
Yes.
In the end, it has to have pathos, meaning you have to touch the emotions of people.
Exactly.
So if you want to talk sad, you have to speak slowly and gently, and
It's
Like
like
an acting, actually,
it
a little bit
is.
about
It is. It
you
is.
have to act to talk.
It is. I mean, storytelling is all about acting. It's more show than tell.
Yes.
So, for example, if you want to say, and for example, there is a story about a king who killed his dog, his favorite dog, because he thought he ate his child.
Nice.
So when he killed him, he didn't say I killed him. He goes like, and then he listened. So he acted more than spoke.
This is
Yes.
something very nice. You know, you ended with the story.
Yes.
And we said like good times run very fast. You
Right.
attract the views from the end of the story. Thanks a lot, our guest.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. You are most welcome. So we have big thanks to Mr. Hamza Taqi. He is a business consultant and a trainer for this lovely interview. Don't go away, dear viewers. We have this tiny little break.
And dear viewers, so we will not go away because tomorrow will be in the same time, 2 and 9 a.m. tomorrow. So see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
So have a good day, dear viewers, and bye-bye.